Authors freedom and flexibility throughout the publishing process, professional book editing, award-winning design, and some of the highest royalty structures in the publishing industry. And as always, you will retain 100% of the rights to your book.
I was looking to find a company that I could trust, one that assisted in the editing process completely.
The most important qualities that I was looking for was a publisher who was honest and upfront, no hidden costs or fees, and owning the rights to my own work.
Christian Faith Publishing will publish, market, and sell your books in all major bookstores, online booksellers, as well as specialty Christian bookstores. Call for your free author submission kit.
800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. 800-978-4812. That's 800-978-4812.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leech Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leech Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
The voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio. Welcome to the Her Show, Home Experience Radio, with your host, Trina Titus Lozano. This is a live call-in show that takes your calls and questions about marriage, family, and personal relationships. She's a licensed and ordained pastoral counselor, author, international conference speaker, wife, mom, and grandmother. She's been counseling and teaching vital relationship skills for over 30 years. Trina is real and relational and reveals strong truths spoken in tough love and common sense. Join us on the studio line now at 817-637-2585. And now, here's Trina.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Her Show, Home Experience Radio. I am Trina Titus Lozano, pastoral counselor, licensed and ordained Christian minister, and I'm here today to help you with your marriage. I've got a dozen tips, and actually even a lot more than that, to talk about today. But it is my desire that each one of you that are married would have a great marriage, a fulfilling marriage. And it is possible, but it doesn't happen without effort. It doesn't happen without intentionality. So let's be very intentional today. And maybe you can even get out a pen and paper or take some notes on your phone. But you want to really incorporate these tips into your everyday life. It is the little things that become big things in our marriage. And with the Home Experience book, if you would like a copy, you can get that at kingdomglobal.com. And with the Home Experience book, what my mom, Debbie Titus, and I have done is we have made an attempt to really give you a guide, sort of a textbook, if you will. And as you look at this book, this will help you with the practical wisdom, the vital relationship skills, the understanding of what it takes to be a homemaker, what it takes to be great at marriage. And for the men listeners, there is some intentionality needed for you to be a great husband. It doesn't just happen. You've got to put another log on the fire to keep the fire lit. And ladies, you've got to do the same. So marriage is a together thing. This is the two of us working together to have a great marriage. It can't be done just with one person. It takes both giving their full effort. And I say it's not really a 50-50. It's more of a 100-100. We need both people to give total effort to make a marriage great. My husband and I have been married for 38 and a half years. And, it's had its ups and downs. It's had a few challenges. But ultimately, there's been so many incredible things that even the things that were challenging ended up making us stronger. And so we're so grateful for this type of a marriage. My parents have been married almost 60 years, and my grandparents were married almost 75 years. In fact, I guess they're still married. My grandmother just says, well, Moffat just changed addresses. Okay. So when he died, she said, well, I might as well keep wearing my wedding ring because I'm still married. He just moved. He went on to Glory Avenue. He moved there before I did. But that's the attitude. Marriage and love is forever. And it's a commitment. It's a covenant. And there's nothing more beautiful than having someone to do your life with, someone to count on. And the beautiful thing is receiving the love from somebody else, but even more beautiful, it's when you give yourself to somebody else. The key to having a miserable life is to live only for yourself. That is a recipe for total misery. But when you have taken these vows and you've decided to commit your life to someone else, it brings so much pleasure to wake up every day and think, how can I make them glad they married me today? How can I make their life better? What can I do to make them excited to come home to me tonight? And excited to do every day with me. What can you do to make a difference? So I want to read a poem to just kick off this hour. This is the poem called The Art of Marriage, and it was written by a man named Wilford A. Peterson. The Art of Marriage by Wilford Peterson. Happiness in marriage is not something that just happens. A good marriage must be created. In the art of marriage, the little things are the big things. It is never being too old to hold hands. It is remembering to say, I love you at least once a day. It is never going to sleep angry. It is at no time taking the other for granted. The courtship should not end with the honeymoon. It should continue through all the years. It is having a mutual sense of values and common objectives. It is standing together facing the world. It is forming a circle of love that gathers in the whole family. It is doing things for each other, not in the attitude of duty or sacrifice, but in the spirit of joy. It is speaking words of appreciation and demonstrating gratitude in thoughtful ways. It is not looking for perfection in each other. It is cultivating flexibility, patience, understanding, and a sense of humor. It is having the capacity to forgive and forget. It is giving each other an atmosphere in which each can grow. It is finding room for the things of the Spirit. It is a common search for the good and the beautiful. It is establishing a relationship in which the independence is equal, dependence is mutual, and the obligation is reciprocal. It is not only marrying the right partner, it is being the right partner. It is discovering what marriage can be at its best. That's the art of marriage. I think that is so beautiful. And today I want to talk to you about what marriage can be. Marriage can be fulfilling, marriage should be fulfilling. And when you have encountered some trauma, or life circumstances that are very difficult, this is the time, instead of pulling apart, this is the time you want these life circumstances to bring you together. Because when two of you are united together, you are a stronger force. The Bible says where one can put 1,000 to flight, two can put 10,000 to flight. And it's true. It's together you can fight an army. Anything that is coming against you, you can stand together and get through anything that you need to get through together. Life is going to be full of the ups and downs, and that's why we take the vows in the first place. There is a better and a worse. There is a richer and a poorer. There is sickness and health. And there will be a lot of others that we will need to remember that no, we will forsake all others and be faithful only to our spouse. This is the vows that we take, and we take them for a reason because we know that life will include all of these things. Temptations will come and circumstances come and they happen, but this is never to pull us apart. This is to strengthen us, to bring us together so we can get through anything together. And God needs to be the center of your marriage. And then where there's the three of you connected, the two of you and God is like the glue that's holding you together. The power of the Holy Spirit is holding the two of you together. The scripture says where three strands are together, they will not be broken. And it's true. Where three strands are braided and woven together, the marriage can survive anything that comes against it, because it is in unity with God. And ultimately, I really believe that God is the source. He is the source. He is the reason why you're even together in the first place. Every relationship really is a miracle when you think about it. I mean, we all have a desire to be deeply in love with another person, and it's not a luck thing. I have to admit that I've been part of Bachelor Nation for a really long time. I am missing Chris Harrison, and I'm not so sure I'm going to tune in this season because it's kind of tough. I don't know. I don't like change, I suppose. But as I watch season after season after season, if they find someone that they really fall in love with, is it going to be sustainable? Rarely. Rarely is it sustainable, because it's just based on a quick decision. It's just based on outward appearance, or maybe on a feeling that you have during a first date or a few encounters, but it's not based on what would really hold a marriage together, like as in a covenant. You have to have things in common, like God. You need to both have the same faith and the same religious preference and the same love for God and knowledge of God. And when you have that together, this is going to be something that is not just something you have in common, but this is going to be something that will keep the glue where it's holding you together. And this is something that you've got to have in common with the person that you commit the rest of your life to. So be sure that God is the foundation of your relationship. Be sure that you both have a personal relationship with God, so that when you come together, you truly are a match made in heaven. And then when there are things that come against you, you can always remember, no, God brought us together, just like your wedding ceremony. What God has brought together, let no man put us under. Nothing is going to divide us, because God brought us together. And that's the foundation of the belief system that you need to have going into marriage. And as you continue throughout your marriage, year after year after year, celebrating anniversaries, you want to know, look, this was a match made in heaven. God brought us together, and He's going to get us through whatever we have to face. One way or another, we can get through it, and we can get through it together. And so I love God, and I love that He has instructions in the Word of God that describes what love is. First Corinthians chapter 13 says, love is patient and love is kind. Love is not jealous. It does not boast. It is not proud. It's not rude. It's not irritable. It doesn't seek its own. It's not selfish. Let me tell you, marriage is brutal on selfish people, but love forgives. Okay. It forgives easily. It believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. It never fails. And this kind of love is called agape love. And in the Greek, there are different words for love. There's agape love, this kind of unconditional love that God gives us and that we want to give our spouse, where we don't have any expectations, but we love them, believing and knowing that there will be good times and bad, but we love them anyway. We love them because even though we know that they're human and they will make mistakes and they're not perfect, and neither am I, it's that unconditional love that God has for us that then it pours through us and we can give that to our spouse. That's agape love. In the Greek, the word is agape. Another word for love in the Greek is eros. That's a type of love that is the erotic love, the passion, the romance, the chemistry, just kind of the butterflies that you get. And that kind of feeling, it's not sustainable throughout a lifetime. It comes and goes a little bit, but that's something that should always be nurtured. It's something that should be a part of your relationship. Your relationship and marriage should always have an element of romance to it. And you should keep your mind thinking romantic and flirtatious thoughts about your spouse. Another word in the Greek for love is phileo. This is the brotherly love, the friendship love, the deep, deep appreciation for somebody when they are your best friend. And you know that you have this friendship type of bond, this commitment. This is phileo. And this is also very important in a marriage. And actually, when a relationship is beginning, this is the type of love that's going to help your relationship be sustained because you are each other's best friends. And then, in addition to this, we have storge. This is the love that is cultivated between a man and a woman, a husband and a wife. And it's very special and it's very important. And this is what's special about heterosexual marriages is there is a potential to make a child together, and his body and your body come together in a unity to create a baby, to procreate. And this is the beauty of male and female marriage is you can then come together, and this type of love is called storge. It is the beautiful affection that you have for someone that you procreate with, or you can potentially procreate with. So you've got these Greek words for love, and all together this brings us to a place of when we say I love you, it needs to mean something. It needs to mean a lot. It needs to be more than just a flippant word, more than just words that you say um, off the cuff. And it's not something that you fall into. It is something that you may happen upon, but then it becomes a decision. It becomes a decision. It becomes a way of life day in and day out. So throughout this episode of the Her Show today, I'm going to be telling you some very important practical ways to keep the fire burning, to keep that flame hot, hot, hot in your marriage, because you do want your marriage to be hot. It's very important. So this is very easy. Number one, say hello and goodbye. Yes, it's a little thing, but it's a big deal. When your wife or your husband comes home from a long day at work, stop what you're doing, greet them at the door, or maybe even go out to the driveway and say hello, welcome home. Give them a hug and a kiss. Say hello. It is so important. Stop what you're doing. Welcome them, greet them. This is a powerful habit to get into. And then when it's time to say goodbye, for each of you to go to your jobs or to do whatever it is that your schedule needs you to do, and you need to say goodbye, well, then say, I look forward to seeing you later. Have a great day. God bless you. Even maybe pray for them, pray for their day, and send them on their way, knowing that you look forward to them coming back again. So it's a courtesy. This is etiquette. It's common sense, but too many people do not say hello and goodbye. Be sure that you do that. And never, ever, 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 ever hang up on your spouse. Never hang up on them. I don't care how mad you are. You can say goodbye. I'll talk to you later. Never hang up on someone. That is rude. That is your anger being out of control. And it is a reaction that you should not have. It's hurtful. So, love is not rude. So, don't hang up on your spouse ever. And if you've done it before, it's a good chance that you'll do it again. This is a habit that you just can't allow yourself to have. So, we're not going to do that. But what we are going to do is say hello and goodbye. Okay, number two, have fun. Have fun every day. Now, both of you are going to have different ideas of what fun is because opposite personalities often attract, but have fun. For me, I love to be among activity and a group of people. I love going to amusement parks and to sporting events and things that just have a group of people. I think it's a lot of fun. I love going to church every Sunday just because I get to be in a social environment with a lot of people. In fact, I prefer big churches. The more, the merrier. And my husband likes to have fun sitting on the couch with me sitting next to him. So we take turns with these things. But we also schedule having fun. We like to schedule vacations. And you know what? Now we are even throwing around the idea of doing skydiving. I have always wanted to go skydiving. And he just said the other day, we need to go ahead and make this happen. Let's go skydiving. So we got to schedule in the fun, put it on the calendar, make it happen, do something adventurous, get out of the box. and have fun together, make some wonderful memories together. And I think it's important to schedule in a date night. When our children were young, we have 4 children and they're all adults now, and we have 11 grandchildren. But as we were in the busyness of raising our children, we scheduled the babysitter to come every other Friday night. So this is the date night, and it would be payday. So we didn't so much look at the fact that, oh, the budget was always so tight, but we did budget it in and we planned on it. And so we always had enough money for a babysitter every other Friday night. We did not have the privilege of grandparents being able to babysit our children, but we did have the date night as a priority, and we made sure to have a babysitter available every other Friday night. I pre-scheduled it so I wouldn't have to stress out in the last minute about getting a babysitter. So it was scheduled, it was budgeted, and it was something that we really looked forward to. Whether it was dinner and a movie or just a picnic or just a walk, something that we could do that didn't cost money, but we did something, even going to friends' houses. But if we had a babysitter at our house, it just gave us a night out where we could visit and we can connect without interruption. Maybe sometimes even make out in the car like we did when we were teenagers, right? And that's fun to do, but it really is important to plan it ahead so that you can make it happen. Okay. Feed the love. Listen, whatever you feed grows and whatever you starve dies. So you want to feed the love. Think about this. Think about the five love languages. You've got quality time, encouraging words, physical affection, acts of service, and gift giving. Be sure that you are feeding the love with all of these things. And keep in mind what your spouse really likes. And for me, I love acts of service. It means so much to me when my husband surprises me and makes our bed, or when my husband will do a task that I've asked him to do that I know is above and beyond what he would typically do. Right now, I've got some shelves that need to be hung, and he works so hard all day, every day. When he gets home, I know he's not in the mood to hang those shelves for me. But you know what? He promised me he's going to do that tonight. Why? Because he knows that this is feeding the love. This is going to make me feel loved, that he takes the time out of his busy work schedule. And even though Monday Night Football is on tonight, you know what? He's going to come home and hang those shelves for me. Then I will sit by him and watch Monday Night Football. But that's the way that it works. But it's important that you feed the love. If you starve the love in your marriage, that fire will go out and then you will grow apart. So send loving messages, send text messages, leave voicemails, write notes, speak kind, thoughtful, encouraging, wonderful words to each other. Encourage each other. Negative talk or even demeaning talk, like put downs or worst case scenario, just bad language to each other, this is so destructive for your marriage. So feed the love by calling each other wonderful things, encouraging each other, telling each other positive things about who they are and what they do. Find things to be grateful for. All of these things will feed the love. Also, physical affection. You have to feed the love by being physically affectionate. You have to kiss every day, many times a day. You need to be making love at least between 3 to 7 days a week. At the very least, never, ever let a week go by. If you have other circumstances that a week goes by that you're not able to connect sexually, but don't let it go beyond that. Stay connected physically. Hug and kiss and hold hands and make love and do all of these things. Even if physical affection is not your number one love language, it doesn't matter. There's something that you like. And so don't think about the things that you don't like or make you irritable. Think about the things that you do like and communicate that, because you guys have got to feed the love. Whatever you feed grows, whatever you starve dies. That's the way it is. So keep feeding the love, okay? And some people say, "Oh, yeah, well, we hardly ever kiss anymore." Well, let me tell you something. If you had an affair, what's the first thing that you would do? Well, of course, you would be flirting with that person. And then the next thing that takes it to the next level, you would kiss. So don't neglect kissing. Be sure that you are kissing in your marriage. It's very important. In fact, kiss every night before you go to bed. You might be exhausted. Maybe one of you is scrolling on your phone. Maybe one of you is still wide awake while the other one is drifting off to sleep. But before you drift off to sleep, or before your spouse drifts off to sleep, give them a kiss every single night before you go to bed. You know what? Even if you're mad, don't go to bed mad. Kiss before you go to sleep. That way you'll sleep with peace. And that way you know that you are being loved and you are loved. You are giving and receiving love um, at the end of each day. And it's super, super, super important. Okay, don't argue or complain. This is such a bad habit. Arguing and complaining is such a bad habit. I thought I was doing pretty good. I told my husband, you know what? I think I'm pretty good at this. I don't really complain. I'm not a complainer. I tend to be very optimistic and I don't complain often. And he just kind of looked at me like, okay. And I was kind of bragging on myself. And then I picked up my phone and I mean, just like that, I said, oh, I hate iPhone updates. Okay, there was this complaint, and I had only said a few seconds before that, I don't think I really complain. You know, it's amazing how you don't realize how often you complain. I have been complaining recently about Six Flags, the rides not being open, and it frustrates me when I go there and take my grandkids, and there's so many rides that are closed. But whenever I start complaining, it just brings that negativity and it brings the energy in the room down. It's like it just puts this negativity into the atmosphere. And that is the opposite of what we want to do. We want to bring positivity to the atmosphere. So don't complain. Don't complain. And if you hear yourself complaining, and when you do complain, immediately follow it up with something that you're grateful for. You know, you need a do-over when you do that. And so if you follow that up with something that you're grateful for, it will then shift the atmosphere back on. It's like complaining turns the lights off, creates darkness. And then once you start being grateful, it turns the lights back on and everybody can see better and it changes the atmosphere for the better. So be sure that you are not complaining and arguing. Couples get in a very bad habit of arguing. Now, listen, you need to have conversations. Conversations are important, okay? So, your opinion's important. My opinion's important. We need to have important, deep conversations about things that really, really matter. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're arguing, you're either trying to prove yourself right or you're trying to prove them wrong. And neither of that is productive. In fact, it's destructive. So, really, what you need to do is just say, you know, tell yourself, right will prove itself. I don't need to argue my point. It's going to be okay. I can just state what is the truth or what's my perspective and I can let it go. Maybe they'll see my perspective, but eventually, right will always prove itself. And you can let it go once you've given them your side. That's it. Let it go. And then be a good listener and hear what their perspective is. But don't argue. Don't complain. It's destructive in your marriage. More tips when I come back after the break. Stay with me.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. If you have lost your provider, or if you need a provider for diabetic supplies, you may qualify to receive your diabetic testing supplies now with little or no out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio.
Welcome back to the Her Show. I'm Trina, giving you marriage advice today. I want all of you to be very fulfilled in your marriage, and I know that you do too, but believe it or not, it does take work. Remember that creating a successful marriage is like farming. You have to start over again every single morning. And God's mercies are new every morning. And so it's really good to let yesterday go and to just start every morning fresh. You know, anger is never supposed to be carried into the next day, because then it becomes bitterness and rage. And we're supposed to forgive every single day. The scripture says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. And we need to just be really good forgivers. You know, a perfect marriage is just two imperfect people who refuse to give up on each other. You know, we're just very good forgivers. We decide, I'm not going to give up no matter what. And we may disagree on many things, but we absolutely agree on this one thing, is that we're not giving up. We are not going to throw around the word divorce or separation or anything related. We've resolved ourselves that we made a commitment. I'm a man of my word. I'm a woman of my word, and I'm not giving up. I'm resolved. I'm committed. This is till death do us part. It's not just until I feel better. It's not just until the end of the year, or it's not just until our kids grow up. There is a resolve. We are not giving up. Now, I don't want you to settle for a bad marriage. I want you to work hard to make it better. I want you to work hard to make it better. And you might say, yeah, well, they're not. If they would do this, this, and this, well, then my marriage would be better. But we don't have the power over them. All you can do is make it better for yourself. Now, I'm assuming that you have married a pretty good person. I'm assuming that out of everybody that you could pick from in the entire world, you chose someone that's a pretty decent guy or a pretty decent girl. You chose wisely. You selected carefully. And so then you treat wisely, and as Dr. Laura says, you choose wisely and treat kindly. And if you've chosen wisely and then you treat them kindly, you're going to have a great marriage. And especially when you have this attitude that we are never giving up. A successful marriage requires falling in love many times, over and over and over again, but always with the same person. In fact, my grandma says I was married to two different men in the same skin, because my grandfather had changed so much after he became a Christian, that his previous life he was a totally different man. And then he became a brand new man. And she just had the privilege of falling in love with him more than once, because we all change. And hopefully people will change for the better. Sometimes people change for the worse temporarily, and then they will make a big turnaround and then be better than ever. But when we make up our mind and we resolve, love is powerful. Love is powerful. And when we love God and we love each other with our whole heart, that's what the scripture says, that equally as important as loving God is loving each other with your whole heart, with all your heart, your soul, your mind. This is your mind, your will, your emotions, with everything in you. You determine I'm going to love God, I'm going to love and honor and appreciate my own self, okay, meaning I won't allow myself to be abused, but I'm going to value my own self as well, then I will love my spouse as myself. I will love them, I will care for them, I will nurture them. A lot of people want to be married, but they don't want to be a great wife because of the sacrifice involved, or they don't want to be a great husband because of the sacrifice involved. But listen, if you're married, it's in your own best interest to be a great wife. You giving and serving and loving someone more than you love yourself, that is the key to happiness. And men, if you resolve that you want to please your wife just as much as you want her to please you, but you also want to please her, and you com meaning that you have an understanding that you have created a new family. The two of you are now in unity. You are one. So your parents become your extended family. Like right there on the wedding day, they become your extended family. They are not your number one priority anymore. They are not supposed to be your providers or your protectors at all. In fact, be sure that you are 100% financially independent of your parents. If you are still dependent on your parents, this will ultimately erode your marriage. It will, because it's not right. It is not right for you as a married couple to be financially dependent on your parents. And what happens is you will begin it will undermine this leaving and cleaving principle. And so you will not be able to bond correctly. It's like there's a crack in the foundation, and you're not able to build correctly on a solid foundation of unity between just the two of you. And so it's really important that you are completely independent of your parents financially in every single way when you are married. And I think a lot of people think that, oh, well, my parents are wealthy, so they give us money every month. Okay, your parents are wealthy. That's great. They can gift you whatever they want to gift you, I would say twice a year, for your birthday and for Christmas. But other than that, if they have money that they want to give you, tell them to put it in a trust and to save it for you and to give it to you later, because you don't want to ever be dependent on their quote unquote gifts. Okay. And it really is a very destructive thing. See, unity in marriage is just between the two of you. And so no longer do we need permission or approval from your families of origin. They, like I say, become extended family. So as the two of you unify together, this is going to create a bond that will last forever. So if this is out of order in your life, be sure that you put it in order. You've got to be totally financially independent. Okay, apologize easily. 12 words that will make the biggest difference in your relationship. Say them often and mean them. It comes from a place of deep humility, but you want to say, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I was wrong and I love you. Those 12 words, when said with humility, on a regular basis will establish an incredible marriage. This is one of the best habits you could ever have, is to put on an attitude of humility and be in a habit of apologizing easily. Not for things that you didn't do. If you haven't done anything wrong, well, don't apologize for that. But we can own things, and we can have an open mind, listen to feedback. If your spouse is telling you that there's a problem or that you've hurt their feelings, even if it wasn't intentional, admit it, quit it, beat it, apologize, and then repair it. And don't continue to do that. You want your spouse to know that you are a safe place, and that you want to be a person who apologizes very easily and means it. What's the point of saying you're sorry if you continue to do it over and over and over and over and over again? Stop it. That is not a true sorry. That's not a true repentance. When you're truly repentant, you you have this deep sense of responsibility for how you were wrong. There is remorse and regret. You will want to do anything you can to repair that, and you will repeat it never. These are the elements of repentance. This is what needs to be in place for you to say, I'm sorry, but do it often and mean it. Okay, be nice. It seems like that's just too simple. But be nice. Do not minimize the importance of just being nice, of having good manners, of being courteous, of being kind, of men opening the doors for your wife, being a gentleman, carrying heavy things. If you're in the house sitting on the couch and she pulls up with a carload of groceries, or the kids, or a combination of both, get up off the couch and help her unload the car. Greet her, say hello, and be a gentleman. Be nice, carry in the groceries, help put them away, help get the kids' shoes off, and whatever it is. But be nice, be courteous, be helpful to each other. If your husband is repairing the car, be out there with him so you can hand him the screwdriver, or hand him the wrench, or hand him the rag. Whatever he needs, you're there to be helpful. So think about each other's situations and just be nice on a regular basis. My husband takes out the trash twice a week, and when he does that, the cans are, by the curb. You know what? Well, if I pull in, why not just be nice and maybe the one that carries the trash cans back in? Like, never have the attitude of, well, that's not my job. Are you kidding me? It's your privilege to be helpful, to be nice, and don't fight. People get in a bad habit of fighting. And then when you ask them what they're fighting about, like I also often do in my counseling sessions, it's over something so stupid and just so pathetic and so small. It's like the small thing, like you didn't throw away the orange juice container in the recycling bin and you guys had this huge fight. Why? Why don't you just be helpful? And if you see it's in the wrong bin, well, then move it to the other bin, but don't have a fight about it. You know, we cannot have a happy marriage and a happily ever after if we give ourselves permission to have excuses to fight. Okay, no. We want to fight together, and we want to fight for our marriage. We want to fight together against the world because, listen, we are a team, and there's no I in team. We've got to remember we are together. So, make a list of the qualities that you love about each of your spouse and the qualities that they love about you. Um, Make a list so you guys remember what you appreciate about each other. You guys both bring different things to the table. You have different personality types, you have different giftings, you have different things that are wonderful about you. So you've got different things to contribute to the marriage. But remember, most importantly, you're on the same team. You're on the same team. Stop opposing each other. Stop competing with each other and against each other. Y'all are on the same team. So be sure that you remind yourself often that you are on the same team. Remember what made you fall in love. What was it that made you fall in love? And when a man was asked, he said, "Well, I fell in love with my wife because really she was an incredible cook, and I was so impressed of what a great cook she was. She would serve the most incredible meals, and they were just delicious, and she was a great cook." And she said, "Yeah, that was a long time ago. I don't cook anymore." Okay. I asked her, what was it that you fell in love with? What was it about your husband? And she says, "He was a really great dancer." And then he said, "Yeah, I don't dance anymore." I said, "Okay, what would it be like if you started cooking again and if you started dancing again? Or even y'all could do it together. You could dance while you cook, and maybe maybe we could recultivate the love in this marriage. Really, don't forget why you fell in love. It's a wonderful thing to go back in your memory bank and remember why you fell in love in the first place and go back to those things. In the beginning of a relationship, we're always on our best behavior. So why not stay on your best behavior throughout your marriage? It's whenever we get very lazy and relaxed and we fall into these very bad habits of being just unloving. My mom was doing some counseling with a couple one time, and they were discussing their grievances, and she was trying to help them sort it all out, and she just finally said, "You have a love problem. You're not being loving. You're not being loving, and that's a problem because you're married, and so you really need to start loving each other again." And it's just so true, and we want to go back to the basics. Don't be lazy. Don't be lazy in your love, and remember that you are on the same team. Okay, here's some other small things. Visit each other at work. It is so fun to visit each other at work. I told my husband, "Sometime you got to come to the radio station with me and sit here with me and do a show with me just for fun, just so you can see where I go on Mondays." And the other day, or on my way here today, he said, "You want to come to work with me?" And I said, "Sure, I will, but I can't today. I'm on my way to the radio station." But I do that many times on Saturdays. If he has a job, I say, "Okay, I'll just ride around in the truck with you and go from job to job." But I think it's fun. I actually enjoy meeting his customers. I enjoy meeting his coworkers, and I enjoy watching him work. It's really a neat thing to get to know this side of the person that you're married to. Way too often, we are just together in the morning and in the evenings, and we each go our separate ways to our jobs, but we don't even know who our person is spending the majority of their time with because we just don't feel like we fit in. We don't really belong there. Why not? You're married. Stop by, pick them up for lunch or take them a hot lunch. Stop by, meet their coworkers, meet and greet everybody, meet their customers and their clients. I mean, they've probably heard about you. And so they probably would love to meet you too. But these are little things that are actually very big things. Send each other bouquets of flowers or balloons or an edible arrangement or something. It doesn't have to be a special occasion, but if it is a special occasion, you should do something. My son loves Tiff's treats. Okay, so send a box of cookies. Maybe your spouse likes cookies, and usually women love flowers and cookies and anything. We just love the special treatment, and men certainly do too. So don't forget, they like that special treatment as well. But especially on the special occasions, do not let a special occasion go by without making it special. So every occasion, birthdays and anniversaries and Valentine's days and Christmas for sure. Mother's Day and Father's Day, if you have children together, be sure that you are celebrating each other. But yeah, it's fun to stop by work, stop by the office. You've got to incorporate these things into your life. It makes your marriage so much better. It's just so much fun to do this. But remember, there has to be there has to be an attitude of dropping your ego, dropping your pride, dropping your fears, dropping your feeling of that I always have to be comfortable. No, you don't. You can step out of your comfort zone to take your husband a hot lunch at work. Even though you feel awkward, you can do it. It's worth it. And you can step out of your comfort zone to go see your wife at work. I want you guys to step out of your comfort zone. It is important. Okay. We can't just stay comfortable and stay in our box and expect to have an incredibly satisfying marriage. Okay. It's going to take some effort. We need to just keep doing it. Okay. Another thing, go to church together. Okay, you would probably have different preferences of what type church you would prefer. That's not unusual, but find one that you both like and go together. Make it a priority. Go every single week together. I think it's important. Put it on your calendar. Make it a regular routine, a part of your schedule. This will connect you in a deeper way. This will keep you guys nurturing and feeding the spiritual side of yourselves. And it's important. So it plus it gives you a time to socialize and to meet some wonderful people who are also going to church. So don't neglect this. I know with COVID, a lot of people have stopped going to church, but listen, things are okay now. We've got to move on with our lives. If you have to wear a mask, okay, fine. But whatever it takes, we've got to continue to live our lives and go places together. It is not healthy to continue to isolate, even with COVID. There will always be a disease. There will always be a circumstance. There will always be an excuse, but you cannot let it keep you from living your life. And as you're living your life, going to church is a priority, needs to be a priority. Make it a priority every single Sunday. It's worth it. Go to church, then you can come home and have lunch, watch football, watch NASCAR, watch the World Series, whatever you would want to do. But come home and just spend the day together. Sunday should be a family day. The scripture says that Sunday is the Lord's day. It's supposed to be a Sabbath. You can't plan to go to Chick-fil-A because Chick-fil-A is closed on Sundays because the owners of Chick-fil-A hold this standard and they take seriously this 10 commandment that says keep the Sabbath day holy and don't work on Sunday. In the world that we used to live in, a lot of people would take off on Sundays. In the world that we live in now, things pretty much go 24/7, but it doesn't change the fact that God has ordained a certain rhythm. And without keeping a certain rhythm, you can see in life that things get off kilter. I'm visualizing this spinning top. And without going to church on Sundays and going on a regular basis, the spinning top it would be spinning and go kaboom, 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 where it's just off kilter. It's not spinning in this rhythmic way of where it's just going with peace and with a rhythm that is peaceful. There's a off kilter, and things get off kilter without taking a Sabbath. People get overly tired, overly exhausted, and keeping the Sabbath day holy where you give yourself a day of rest. You give yourself a day to unplug, to enjoy the outdoors, to just enjoy each other's company, to just be together with God and each other one day a week. It really should be a full day a week. It's so important to keep the Sabbath day. And if you're Jewish, that begins at sundown on Friday night and it goes till sundown on Saturday night. And that's a Sabbath. That's their Sabbath. And so and it's untouchable. They have set this a day aside that they do not compromise. They don't work on that day. They really take a day off and it makes a much healthier life. So many diseases are related to stress. And so much stress is caused because we don't take one day to spend with the Lord and with each other and just to rest. So take a day of rest, keep the Sabbath day holy, and have one day that you are just together, beginning your day with going to church together. Um, I think it's important as we are looking at all of these marriage tips that you understand that it is such a privilege to be married. It really is. It's a privilege, and you should never take it for granted. As you are married and as you turn over and you see the person that you're married to, don't take it for granted. It's important that you appreciate and that you're grateful for each other. You're not perfect. A great marriage is not when the perfect couple comes together. It's when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences. There will always be differences, and you're not perfect, but you enjoy each other's differences and you can laugh about it and you can have fun with it. But don't try to change each other. No, just worry about changing yourself. Change is necessary as we grow and mature. Change happens. We've been married for almost 39 years and we're not the same as we were in 1983, but we've changed personally. Personal growth is personal, and you must really look at yourself. And in any situation, it's always a temptation to want the other person to change. But we've got to look at ourselves and say, okay, I'm the one to change. I'm the one that needs to look at me to make a difference in my own self because I don't have any control over them. You don't have any control over them. You can never change another person. But you know what? You can change what you believe about them. You can change what you believe about them. And you can believe wonderful things. I mean, you chose them after all. And why? Why did you choose them? I don't know, but you chose them. You took vows to them. And so, you can make this. You can make this work. You just got to do your part and stop worrying about them doing their part, right? Uh, you know, Love grows. Let's just keep planting the good seeds so that we can see our marriage grow into something beautiful. I'll be taking calls in this next hour, so please feel free to give me a call. I'd love to talk to you on air, 817-637-2585. I'll be right back after the break.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, Joco Community Radio.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Supreme Court justices have heard arguments in a case involved the controversial Texas abortion law.
The arguments before the High Court focused on whether abortion providers or the Justice Department can mount federal court challenges to the state law, which has ended most abortions in Texas. At different moments during the session, conservative justices sounded both supportive and skeptical of how the law was structured, which allows private citizens to enforce it.
White House correspondent Greg Cluxton. Also at townhall.com, American Airlines still trying to dig out from under a blizzard of canceled flights over the last few days. By midday today, American had canceled more than 350 flights. The fourth straight day of major disruptions at the airlines, which canceled more than 1,000 flights on Sunday. American hoping to fix its operation by hiring more flight attendants, pilots, and reservation agents. President Biden declaring at the UN summit that the actions taken this decade to contain climate change would be decisive. The president is challenging fellow world leaders gathered in Scotland by asking, quote, "Will we do what is necessary?" A new poll found that only 33% of Republicans trust the 2024 elections will be fair.
The poll found that most Americans do not trust the elections will be fair, but that the GOP voters are far less likely to think so. 58% of those polled overall say they trusted elections in the U.S. a great deal or a good amount. Yet while 90% of Democrats and 60% of independents trust elections, just a third of GOP voters did. 70% of voters overall trust that their state and local governments will handle the 2022 elections fairly, with 60% of GOP voters saying so. 53% of GOP voters also said they would trust the results of the 2022 election, even if their candidate lost. Bernie Bennett reporting.
The Dow is ahead 71 points now, but the S&P 500 down 1. More at townhall.com.
Got a deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleveland, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleveland, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
Hey, Jill, congratulations on your son getting into the college of his dreams and with a full scholarship, too. Yes, we are so proud of him. You know, I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the same way, and then I met Dr. Gina of Education Prep Centers. She put a plan in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers, college admissions made easy.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leech Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson in Cleveland, Texas. Leech Brothers has been family-owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
You're listening to Joco Community Radio. Welcome back to The Her Show. That's Home Experience Radio with your host, Trina Titus Lozano, pastoral counselor and ordained Christian minister. She's here to give you advice and answer your questions about life, love, and other mysteries. Call our studio line now at 817-637-2585. Now, here's Trina.
Joco Community Radio is the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and we are live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen, simply go to tuneinjoco.com where you can download the free app or listen live right there. We are also streaming simultaneously on Spreaker.com with select shows streaming to Facebook. All of our shows can also be found on any of your favorite podcast platforms. Check out our lineup on our Facebook event calendar or on our website. Thank you for tuning in. This episode and more brought to you by Next Level Claims, making your insurance work for you. Next Level Claims. And if you would like to join the conversation today, I will be happy to answer questions or give you advice. Feel free to call in the station 817-637-2585. I'll be taking your questions this next hour and continuing to give you more advice about how to have a great marriage. I want each of you to have a truly great marriage. And I know that you can't make it happen by yourself. And I know that you know all of the reasons and things that your spouse could do that would make your marriage better. And maybe you could even be a little bit frustrated. But if you have questions, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to help. And I got a question this week, and I wanted to be able to answer that here on air. It was, my husband doesn't like when I wear leopard print, but I love leopard print. What do you think? Should I never wear it? Should I wear it sometimes or not? Okay, so this is the thing. Men do have preferences. Okay, we all have preferences. There are shirts or shorts or sweaters that he wears that you don't like. And there's other ones that he wears that you really do like. And so we each have preferences. And when we are married, we want to be considerate of the other person's preferences. For instance, my husband does not like it when my hair is up. But my mother loves when my hair is up. So when I'm with my mom, I can wear my hair up and she's she's all excited about it and she'll compliment me. She likes to look at me with my hair up. But when I'm with my husband, I know that he really would prefer my hair to be down. So just as an act of consideration and honor, I pay attention to the likes and dislikes of the people that I'm with, because part of me getting ready is not just for my own benefit. I look at myself in the mirror and then I forget about myself the rest of the day. I'm not thinking about what I look like all day. I just try to look my best, and then I go about my business. So really, I want someone to look at me and think that I'm attractive or that I'm well taken care of. However, it's never loving to be controlling. So I think it's very important that when we give somebody our opinion, like, "Hey babe, I don't like that shirt on you. It's just looking way too ragged. Do you mind putting on a nicer shirt for church today? That one looks really ragged. It's okay for a work shirt, but I really don't like it." You know, it's one thing to state that opinion, but then if he turns around and says, "You know what? I like it. I think I'm fine." Then let it go. Don't continue to be controlling about it. State your opinion, then let it go, but it's not worth fighting over. Okay, so your spouse doesn't like you to wear leopard, or that's just not their favorite thing on you. So maybe you have, oh, I have got a leopard fuzzy winter jacket that I think is so cute. I think every outfit looks cuter when I wear this leopard fuzzy jacket. Okay. I think it's just super, super, super cute. But if my husband really does not like it, then when I'm with him, I wouldn't wear it. I would choose another jacket. However, he needs to know also that I love it and I feel cute when I wear this jacket. So when I go to lunch with my girlfriends or I go out with my mom or whatever, I'm going to wear this jacket. And it's really important that you have an understanding in your relationship that love is never controlling. Okay. So it's always considerate. There's always a caring and considerate spirit, but not a controlling and critical spirit. So if your spouse is being controlling and critical, and they're being mean to you about your appearance or the about certain things, it's important that you communicate with them. I wouldn't do it at the moment because you don't want to start a fight right then. So in the moment you can be considerate, but then I would say very soon, like later that day, to just say, I appreciate your opinion. However, it just feels really controlling and critical when you tell me that. And so I just want to let you know that I care about what you think and I want to be considerate, but I am going to wear this jacket sometimes. Like, I love it and it feels like me. It makes me feel alive and I just think it's super cute. So I'm going to wear it at times. And, but I'm not gonna wear it on our dates. But I just wanted to let you know that when you told me today, that seemed really critical and hurtful, but I did hear you. I appreciate your opinion, but you need to know that I am going to wear it sometimes. See, I think it's really important that if your spouse has crossed the line, and instead of just being caring and sharing their opinion with you, if they're being very cruel and critical and controlling, then that really does have to be confronted. And if they're not willing to have that conversation with you, then that's when you'll need to go to a counselor. And the counselor will need to explain to them the difference between a caring spirit and a critical and controlling spirit. And you'll need to get to the bottom of it because we want to look beautiful and look wonderful, but we never want to encourage bad behavior. And it is bad behavior. And in some cases, if it gets to be very extreme, an extreme amount of control, this can be very dangerous and destructive in a relationship. So it's important, that you communicate about that. It's also important that you stay an attitude of being caring and considerate, and don't take on a bad attitude, okay? Even when you're expressing your preferences, all right? Okay, here are some rules for a happy marriage. Never be angry at the same time. Never yell at each other unless the house is on fire. If one of you has to win an argument, let it be the other person. Never bring up mistakes from the past. Neglect the whole world, but never neglect each other. Never go to sleep angry. Be sure your argument is settled. And at least once a day, say things that are kind and complimentary to each other. Remember that it takes two for everything, but especially for love. These are just some rules of a happy marriage, It matters. It matters. Make up your own rules and post them on the refrigerator. I made up a list of rules or incorporated a list of rules that I found from an organization called the Peace Builders. And so we incorporated this into our marriage and into our household rules. And it was these rules. Number 1, give up put downs. Number 2, right wrongs. Number 3, oh wait, let me not say the numbers. Give up put downs, right wrongs, notice hurts, seek wise people, and praise people. The numbers were throwing me off there. I'm just going by memory because these were on our refrigerator for years and years and years and years. These are rules of the Peace Builders. Give up put downs, right wrongs, notice hurts, seek wise people, and praise people. Okay, so make up your own rules and stick to them. Work together to have a happy marriage. Like this, make your spouse a priority. Respect and honor one another. Avoid the words never and always. Make time for you to do things together. Be grateful for each other. Apologize when you are wrong. Believe in each other. Put your marriage first. Listen carefully and take time to communicate with each other. I do a communication exercise in my office with couples, and what we do is I have them face each other where their knees are touching, and we just set the timer, and each one of them has 15 minutes to talk, and they have to talk for 15 minutes. And sometimes they look at me like, "Oh my gosh, I can't do that." But once they get started, everyone can do it. And it's important to do. You really have to decide, okay, I'm gonna stick to the rules of this little communication exercise and do it. It's an exercise both for speaking and for listening. So you set the timer and then just ready, set, go. When one person is talking, the other person has to remain completely silent. Okay, they're just listening, looking into your eyes. They cannot speak until your time is up. Then their time starts. So if you have to set the timer and have your time to talk. Talk it out 15 minutes at a time. That will be 30 minutes of real communication. And here's the rule. You cannot talk about schedules. You can't talk about the kids or your parents or the neighbors. You have to just talk about each other. So you talk about your relationship. You could talk about the past, present, and the future. You can talk about dreams and desires and hopes, but stick to the topic of your relationship and talk about it for 15 solid minutes. Here's the thing, your spouse doesn't know what you're thinking until you tell them. We don't know what we don't know, and it's impossible to know anything if nobody tells you. So it's important to just open your mouth and speak what you've been thinking. And then it's also really important to listen to what the other person is saying. And then finish off that last minute of saying how much you love them, why you chose to marry them, why you made those vows in the first place, and that you just want to reiterate your love and your commitment to your marriage and to your family. And do this. It should be done every day. But it is a commitment exercise. It's important that you make it a priority to talk to each other. You just really have to. It's very, very critical. But you know what? God has a plan, and he has a plan for your marriage. And he has a plan that maybe you don't even know right now. Maybe you don't know what the two of you are going to accomplish together. Maybe you do not even know what children or grandchildren, God's going to bring into your life. We don't know what tomorrow holds, but God knows. We don't know how long we'll stay in the job that we have. We don't know how life is going to change. But one thing is for sure is things will change. Number one, we age. Number two, the kids grow and the grandkids come, but we never know. We don't know what tomorrow holds. But the one thing that we need to know for sure is that we have made this commitment and this covenant to each other. We make a vow. It's a promise. It's a covenant. It's a commitment. It's more than just a wish list. It's very important that when we take these vows, we really, really mean it. Okay? Okay, so statistics talk about the needs of a man and a woman. And I will just let you know what they are, and then you can adapt this to what you think are the specific needs that are in your marriage. But typically, this is what it is. A husband needs, like truly needs from his wife, he needs admiration. He needs this respect and this honor from his wife. And he also needs domestic support. He needs to know that you actually care. You care about the home. You care about the atmosphere of the home. You care about the groceries and the cooking and the cleaning and the gardening. And even if he does a lot of that and you guys do a lot of it together, it's important to him that he knows that your heart is for your home. Your heart is to be a homemaker. Your heart is to make your house a home and to have the atmosphere of home. He wants that. He needs that. This is very important to men. And it's a beautiful part of your identity as a wife. So embrace that with your whole heart. Men also need companionship and friendship. They really want their wife to be their best friend. So think about what he likes to do and do it with him. They love to have you with them as their best friend, okay? Another thing, they love you to be attractive. Now, different men have different preferences. Some prefer a lot of makeup, some prefer no makeup. Some, whatever you are is what they chose. So obviously they think that you're attractive. They were attracted to you. My husband, he loved that I always have my nails done. And so I do them myself, but I don't go without my nails being painted. Both my fingernails and my toenails, they're always painted. And when we were dating, he just said, that was so attractive to me because you were always just so well kept. And I'm a person, I do wear makeup every day. I fix my hair every day. And I'm a Texan, so I love the big hair and the bright makeup and lashes and the whole thing, lashes and lipstick. But, whatever your husband likes, stay attractive. Even as you age, don't let yourself become unattractive. Don't stay in your pajamas all day. No, get dressed every single day. Get dressed. Even if it's a lazy day at home, put your clothes on. Stay attractive. Stay attractive. This is important for your own self esteem, and it's also so important for your marriage. Also, men, they really want sexual fulfillment. So, they need to be able to have this connection with you on a regular basis. Now, women, it's very important, men, that you give your wives affection. They want hugs and kisses. They want you to put your arm around them when you're at church sitting next to them. Put your arm around them, hold their hand, pull them close, hold hands as you're walking to and from places and even into the grocery store. They love this non sexual affection. We love hugs and kisses when you say hello and goodbye. It means so much for us. For you to give us massages and hold our hands and just have this desire to be close. It feels like you are caring. And so women just really, really need that. Communication. Guys, we need your open and honest communication. Don't make us beg for it, okay? Just please tell us what's going on. Tell us what's in your heart. And for the love, be honest. Be honest. Be honest. Be vulnerable. Vulnerability is the key to connection. We've got to have a vulnerability. We need it, and you need it too. You need to give it as much as we need to receive it. So stop covering up. Stop being dishonest. Just tell the truth. Tell the truth about your struggles. Tell the truth about your worries. Tell the truth if you are worried about money. Tell the truth if you are worried about the budget. Tell the truth if you have done something that you regret. We want to know. We'll be quick to forgive you, but we just want to know the truth. We don't want to find out from somebody else that you got drunk at work last night. We want you to be the one to tell us. We don't want to find out from somebody else that you were flirting with the girl at the office. We want you to be the one. We don't want to just happen upon if you've been looking at pornography. We want you to fess up and tell us. Open and honest communication. Tell us what your struggles are. Tell us where you have had victory. We don't want to hear from somebody else that you won the golf game. Come home and tell us that you won the game. We want to rejoice with you. We want to be your cheerleaders. So we are desperate for open and honest communication. We're really desperate for us. Plus, we are desperate for you to tell us what you love about us. Communicate. I heard one man say, "Well, I told my wife one time that I loved her on the day I married her. What's the point of me telling her over and over again?" The point is that she needs to hear it and you need to say it. So the more you say it, that's good. You're planting the seeds of love and she needs to hear it. She's your wife. She deserves to hear that you love her. She needs to hear that she's beautiful. My grandpa used to compliment my grandmother by saying, "You make that dress look pretty." And then he would say, "You look like $1,000,000 and 12 cents." These are compliments that women need to hear. So, men, take care of your wives. Take care of your wives. Give her compliments. Tell her thank you for dinner. Don't complain about it. Tell her thank you. Tell her that you appreciate her and everything that she did. Tell her you appreciate the groceries that she brought into the home. Just appreciate the bed that's made, appreciate that the laundry's done. Say thank you, be grateful, communicate your appreciation. And also financial security. Women really need to know, men, that you care about the money, that you have a plan, you have a financial plan, and that you are willing to budget, to stick to a budget. We want to know that you've got things handled. The bills are being paid on time, the taxes are being filed on time, our will is complete, and the business aspect of our marriage is being taken care of. Now, it's not that you're just supposed to do it all for us. We need to be a part of it. We need to also know what the budget is. We need to be able to pay the bills. We need to be able to be a part of everything. But we need to know that you have a plan and that you care and are taking some leadership in this plan. This is important for our security. This is very important. It's very, very critical that you have a plan and that the plan is a plan that is secure, a plan that is safe. We want to know that you're not just going to quit your job unless you have another job lined up. We want to know that you're not just going to create debt. We want to know that you will pay cash for things, and then if you don't have the money, you will save up for it. But we want to know you're not going to waste money on interest. You're not going to make bad financial decisions that affect the whole family. Excuse me. Now, everybody makes mistakes and we can grow and learn together, but we've got to get through things together. So we need to know, men, that you are committed. You're committed to earning a living. You are committed to paying the bills. You are committed to doing your part. And we are people of faith, and we believe, yes, God is the provider and he's going to provide. He takes care of the birds and he provides their needs, and God promises that he will provide all of our needs. But he also says that laziness is as evil as witchcraft. Laziness is the road to poverty. So we can't be lazy. The Bible says if you don't work, you won't eat. So there is an expectation from God to each of us that we will have the work ethic, that we will put our hands to the plow. We will each do our part. And it is very destructive for a marriage if men do not take seriously being a financial provider for the family. And it's important, no matter how much money you make, even if the wife makes more money, it's just important that you take this financial responsibility for the family. The burden of it needs to be on you, the burden of taking care of the family business. And so, men, don't neglect that. If you neglect this kind of family business, you're neglecting a major need that your wife has, and it will ultimately, be destructive to the marriage. Hosea chapter 2 verse 19 says, a husband and wife must never lose their commitment to each other. This commitment to both your mate and your marriage goes deeper than romantic love. It empowers you to keep an unbreakable covenant with your marriage partner, regardless of unexpected circumstances. Our covenant, God says to us, I will betroth you to me forever. I will betroth you in righteousness and justice, in love and compassion. Compassion is always part of a marriage. It's important that we have compassion, both understanding that God has compassion on us and that we have compassion for each other. A marriage that lacks compassion is a marriage that it lacks care and that lacks love. We've got to have compassion for each other and empathy. It's important that you truly feel each other's pain, that you can walk in each other's shoes, that you can empathize with each other. These are things that will just bond you together in marriage when you have a compassion when the other is going through a hard time. And we want to make that commitment to working through problems, not walking away, deciding together that divorce is not an option. Hello, never, ever is it an option. Now, of course, it happens, and it happens more than half the time, but it doesn't have to be you. Unless you are married to someone that is very abusive, that is chronically adulterous, that has completely abandoned you, or that has violent, abusive anger toward you, you can work through anything. So I'm not talking about those types of marriages. I'm talking about the other 50% of marriages that really can be great, because marriage can be great when we make the commitment. And it's what everybody wants. I taught for many, many years in public schools about healthy relationships, and for 20 years, actually. And I even taught here in Burleson School District for 10 years about healthy relationships. And in every class, I would ask the ninth graders to raise their hand. And I just had the question, do you think that you will probably get married someday? And everybody always raised their hands. And it's true. Everybody wants to be married. We all want to be married someday. We all want to have this commitment. We want to be able to live our life with someone. We want this so badly. And I know that God wants this for you. If this is a desire of your heart, then God wants it for you. And if you are married and it's your desire to stay married until death do us part, listen, pray for it. Pray for it, commit to it, and continue to resolve yourself to work through whatever you have to work through. Even if there's some obstacles, things might not turn around overnight. In fact, they rarely do. But don't give up, because when you resolve yourself to have a great marriage, you can be the best spouse possible. And in time, with patience and God's help, you're going to have a great marriage. I'll be right back after the break.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Abnormal realities.
All right. So let's see. Oh, this is a cool one. You may affect magnetic phenomena that makes credit cards unreadable after you've been carrying them. Do you have a problem with your credit cards?
I do not.
He is not a slider.
I'm not a slider.
All right. And number everything.
I'm just thinking about how much of a train wreck we are.
Come here, hug.
No, I'm not hugging you. God, how long is this show going to go? Can't believe you got to the end of the story and you went, humana. There are no more numbers. What?
I thought there's another one. I tried playing it out. It rolled over on me.
Abnormal realities.
Every time I look at the clock, the break gets further away. I don't understand.
With Ron and Rocky. Weekdays, 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. on JoCo Community Radio.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395. 800-709-4395.
You're listening to JoCo Community Radio.
Welcome back to the Her Show. I'm Trina, and I'm here taking your calls this half hour. If you have any questions, please give me a call, 817-637-2585, and I'm happy to take your calls on air. We can talk about your specific situation, your marriage problems, and what you can do to make your marriage better. We can all do something to change, add to what you're doing and make it better. It can be better. I know it can be, and I want you to make it better. It's going to be good, but there are rules to having a good marriage. There are tips and tricks. There is consistency that is absolutely required. And it is something that we can do if we do it keeping in mind that we have no expectations. We're doing it just to be a giver. We're doing all the things to meet our spouse's needs, not giving to get, just giving to give. We want to give. So this is what we're doing. This is the covenant that we've made. This is the vows that we've made. So we're going to stick with the plan. We made a vow to get married. We've probably had children together. And so we're going to stick with the plan and not give up on our marriage. Okay. And once you get past the hump of whatever the hardship is, you'll be stronger. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Have you heard that? And it just really is so true. So I want you guys to make the commitment and also make it a commitment to feed the love every single day. Continue to feed it. Feed your marriage. Feed the love. And know that when you do this and you ask God to help you, you can do anything. You really can. You can do anything with God being your strength, and He will help you. He will help you to have a good marriage. You can do this. Don't give up. And I know that you know that you are with this person for a reason. You know deep in your heart that there is a reason that you are with this person. And so ask God if you have lost sight of why you're married to this person, and maybe you are just stuck in a place that is not good. Ask God to change your mind about them. Ask God to show you and to remind you what it is that you love about this person. And just think of something. The scripture says, whatever is good and lovely and of good report, think on these things. And we just want to think about the things that are good in our marriage and what we love about this person so that we can continue to grow together with true intimacy in our marriage. You know what God's purpose for your marriage is? Well, He's got 3 actually, and it is partnership, parenting, and pleasure. Okay, partnership, parenting, and pleasure. God has given each of you as partners. Your partners, your companions, you are teammates, okay? And God's given you guys each other to be each other's helpers. Malachi chapter 2:14 says, "She is your partner, the wife of your marriage covenant." And we're to be each other's partners and helpers. That's what a marriage is. Don't forget about that. That's so important. And also parenting. Now, if you have children, you need to know that God says children are a blessing. So continue to look at your children as a blessing. And yes, they are messy and they are noisy and they are exhausting, but they are so worth it. And they are such a big blessing. So remember that your children are a blessing. And if you have not been able to have children yet, just know that it is part of God's plan. And I would encourage you to pray for children and to ask God for children and to just know that it is part of his plan. This is what he established back in Genesis. His first scriptural command was for Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply, filling the earth with godly offspring. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it." It is part of God's plan. And he's going to provide. When my husband and I got married and began having children, we began to be sometimes a little bit nervous about the finances because we were young and I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. So I only worked part-time. And when my husband was able to watch the kids, and then he was the primary financial provider, and it worked very well. And but after we had a few children, it was like, okay, if we keep having more kids, this is going to get pretty expensive. And we thought, you know what? God's going to provide. He will provide. And so we decided that we wanted to have 4 children. And then at that point, we said, okay, 4 no more. We really felt done. And I encourage all of you, think about the family planning. Think about, if you're married, what kind of birth control you want to use and when you feel like you're going to be finished. And if you don't really have this piece about being finished, well, then you're not done, really. But if you're finished, then you guys need to make a plan so that you don't have to continue to worry about birth control. And either the husband or the wife, it's easier for the husband to make a plan for sterilization. But at that point, you make a plan and then you just say, okay, this is our family. We're going to grow our family and we're going to do it together. We're going to commit to our family together. This is a real big purpose in marriage, is parenting. And I had somebody recently say, well, you don't stay married just for the kids. And I thought, really? Well, why not? I mean, I think it's a really good reason to stay married for kids. I mean, seriously, staying married for kids is a great reason because you made these babies together. This was part of the purpose of your marriage, was to have children. So it's actually a pretty good idea to stay married for the kids. Kids will leave and spouses stay. That is true. Children leave, spouses stay. But it's important that we know that we got to stay together. It's very devastating to children if we do not stay married. Very devastating. So we've got to stay married when we have children. We don't want to get a divorce. At least don't give up easily. If it's impossible, and there's no way that you can stay married because of the situation, God's going to get you through it. One way or another, you and the kids will be fine, because if someone leaves the marriage, of course, you have to let them go. You have no way of keeping them. But it is important that you stay married, and that you're a family. And then the commitment goes beyond the marriage to the children. It's part of the family commitment as well. And then the other purpose for marriage is pleasure. The marriage relationship and your mate are God's special gifts to you. True enjoyment will grow out of self-control and a servant's heart. And it is a foundation of marriage to have self-control. In order to have a loving marriage, we've got to have all of these fruits of the Spirit in our lives. So love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. So all of these things, all of these fruits, all of these elements are part of a marriage commitment. And we have to have these qualities in our attitude, in our home atmosphere: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, which is why when there's addictions, it undermines a marriage. There's a lack of self-control. The alcohol becomes more important than the marriage, or the drugs become more important than the marriage, or the pornography becomes more important than the marriage, or the gambling becomes more important than the marriage. When there are addictions, that destroys the marriage. And so that's why there's a need for self-control. Self-control is a part of marriage. It's got to be a character quality that you both have to be married and to be happily married and to stay married. And when you have the self-control, when you have the servant's heart, see, marriage is brutal on selfish people. But when you have the servant's heart and you wake up every day, how can I serve them more? Your marriage will be blessed. Proverbs 5:18 says, may your fountain be blessed and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth. Proverbs 5:18. God wants you to have a great marriage. So I want you to call me today and let's talk. If you have a question, the number is 817-637-2585. I would love to take your call today. We can talk about your marriage and we can talk right here on air. 817-637-2585. And I can answer your question, or we can just talk about your specific situation. Every marriage is unique. Every marriage is different. So there's just a necessity for specifics. So I encourage you, if your marriage is struggling, please reach out, get counseling. I offer free counseling, 8 hours of free counseling to anyone here, and I work with a state program called Together in Texas for premarital counseling, and you can have 8 hours of free premarital counseling. But I can refer you to other specialists if you are out of the area, or we can work together online or over Marco Polo or over Zoom or a number of ways if you're not local. But I want you to get the help that you need. It is not easy, but it is so worth it. And the more you do, the better you get at it. And the momentum always needs to go towards growing. We always want to get better at marriage, not worse. So we want to get better, and we want to have the momentum in this growth atmosphere rather than a dying. And so we want to continue to feed our marriage, so we'll continue to grow. We want the momentum to go that way, where our marriage is getting better and better and better and better, not worse and worse and worse and worse. So I encourage you today to please give us a call right here on the station number 817-637-2585, and we can talk about your specific marriage and even your troubles. You might have a money troubled marriage. You could have, just experiencing financial disagreements, financial problems, how credit cards should be used or what the budget should be. Or maybe one person is very controlling about money and won't let, says, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. And they won't let you afford certain things. And then yet they are allowed to afford whatever they want, but yet you're not, and so this becomes a real money troubled marriage when finances get to be misused and mishandled. And then there's really conflict that can arise. But Hebrews 13:5 says, keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have. And I think it's very important that there is a contentment in regards to the money matters of your marriage. Or your marriage might be misaligned, failing to recognize the God-given roles. See, listen, there are very important roles that both a husband and a wife has. And as we look at these important roles, it's important to pay attention to them because they really matter. These are God-ordained roles. For the husband to be a spiritual leader, financially responsible, for him to be wise, for him to be a problem solver, for him to be attentive to his wife. and for the wife to have a gentle spirit, to not be controlling, but other than that, to be submissive. And there should be no power struggles in marriage. Okay. There should just be where if we're going to fight, we say, oh, no, you first. No, you first. No, you first. Well, let's do it your way. No, let's do it your way. Oh, no, you're the genius. No, you're the genius. We need to, if it's going to be a struggle, we need to struggle that way, but never have this power struggle in a marriage. That's very destructive in a marriage, and we don't want to be ever withdrawn emotionally. So you always invest emotionally in your marriage. There should be this investment. There should be this willingness to let go and fully invest. Put all the chips in and invest in your marriage. Let go of bitterness and anger. When you hold on to that stuff, when you hold on to bitterness, there's this pride and this ego that says, yeah, I can't believe you would do that to me. I would never do that to you. And when there's this pride and this ego, it's going to cause constant problems. You've got to let that pride and ego go. Listen, women, if you treat your husband like a king, then he will treat you like a queen. It is the truth. And you give them the honor, the respect that they deserve. It's going to come back to you. Okay, maybe not right away, but ultimately, anyway, you will be fulfilled, because it is better to give than to receive. It is. Listen, love will require patience. So it's going to require you patience. You will have to patiently wait anyway, on whatever it is that you're hoping for, or whatever it is that you're hoping to accomplish. You're going to have to wait for it anyway. It's important to wait, but you've got to drop the ego. You've got to drop the bitterness. Whatever has happened in the past, it's happened. It's there, but it's not the end of the story. And you've got to be able to open your eyes, open your heart to forgive and love each other. Okay, I just got a message that someone's trying to call. Let me see if I can pick up that line. Hey, Tiff, someone's been trying to call 3 times. Can you pick the line up, or let's try to call them? Okay, so we're going to try to catch that call. Sorry for the technical difficulties that we haven't been able to pick up that call, but we're going to call you back. Thank you for calling. The number here in the studio is 817-637-2585. So we'll try to get you on air. Thank you for not giving up, though. So, all right. So, continuing to just encourage you in your marriage today. Listen, God loves marriage. I love marriage. Marriage is the foundation of our society. So, having a solid marriage is one of the best privileges that I've ever had in my life, and it can be the best privilege that you've ever had in your life, too. So, anyway, I'm going to take a call right now, and let's see. Hello, welcome to the Her Show. How can I help you?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, thanks for not giving up and calling back however many times you called back. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was calling to ask a question. What's the best way to connect and find good couples? Like trying to find like my people in the same walk of life other than a church group, because there's some sort of awkwardness with church.
Well, you can always start with either your friends or his friends. And if you already have friends, like, you have to start somewhere. So if you're going to be making new friends, you have to then make new friends together, which can be, like you said, it could be from church, it could be from work, it could be from neighbors. I mean, how do we meet anybody? We meet anybody either in our neighborhood or if we're socializing through family or through friends. But whatever the case is, somebody has to make the connection first, and then it does take getting out of the box. So it takes an invitation, inviting people over, or inviting people. It depends on what your husband likes to do. And then it's sometimes easier to connect if you guys are doing something with another couple where you have a mutual hobby together. Like when we were a young married couple, we had bought some ski equipment and we decided that we wanted to go skiing. And so we went with another couple that also liked to go skiing. And so what we had in common was the skiing. And then as we went on this ski trip together, that's what then connected our friendship. Another couple we met because we were neighbors, and I met her, and then my husband met the husband, and then I invited them over for dessert. And then we began to develop a friendship because I invited them over, and it was convenient for both of us because we were neighbors. Over the years, we have met people at work, and either my husband would work with a guy that he really liked, and then so we would make a plan to go on a double date so then I could meet the wife. You know, there's not always going to be a real connection with both, like the guys like each other and the girls like each other, you know, mutually. It doesn't always work that way, but when it does, it's really rare and it's really wonderful. However, it is so important to connect. Lots of times you can connect if you have a child the same age, like you know, and then that can be a point of something in common. But anytime anyone needs to make new friends, and it is super important to make friends in a marriage, you want to make new friends, but you always make a new friend based out of something that you have in common. So you might have common relatives. You like, it could be a family friend. You could maybe have there has to be something in common. If your husband likes to go hunting and fishing or camping, then you may even see on social media, or you might hear a friend of yours say that they did something like that. And then you would have to reach out to say, oh, hey, you guys like camping? Let's go camping together. I saw online a couple that was going on a cruise. And I said, oh, hey, we love to go on cruises. Maybe we should go together sometime. And then we went together, and boom, we made new friends. Then I posted that we went on a motorcycle trip. I had someone reach out to me on Facebook and say, hey, my wife and I, we like to ride motorcycles too. So then we flew up to near where they live, and then we rode my motorcycles together to go to Niagara. Boom, we made new friends. So that's the way to make new friends in any situation, is you find something in common and then you do that together around the common activity that everyone loves. Does that make sense?
Yes, perfect sense. Sorry, my phone is so choppy right now, but I'm catching mostly everything you're saying.
Good. Well, you can also watch the replay and catch it. It's on every podcast platform and also on Facebook Live, so you can always go back and re-listen to the call. But I think that's a really good question, and I think in marriage, as we are wanting to socialize with each other, but we also we have to have a social life outside of just each other and just our family.
We don't even know our own we don't even know our own interests other than our kids. How do you find what you even like, or other people who like the same thing as you?
You do know what your interest is. Maybe you have, and what you both have had interest before you got married. You had some hobbies. What did you have, or what are his hobbies?
Yeah, so we have to get back into those.
Yeah. What are the things that he likes?
Fitness.
Well, there you go. You can go work out together. I had some friends move here, and they were really into CrossFit. Well, they moved here from another state. They didn't know anybody. Well, the first thing they did, they joined a CrossFit gym, and then boom, all of a sudden you're starting to make friends with everyone that's in your classes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have to start somewhere. And
eating.
Everybody loves eating. That's not considered a hobby per se, but if it is, then you can meet people in a dinner club. Invite people over for dinner, or in a cooking club, or in cooking classes. But you have to find something that you like to do together. And so hobbies are really important. And again, whatever it is, my husband and I don't do it often. We do it about twice a year now. But we love to ride motorcycles. So it's a way for us to do something that's different, but it's also a way to make new friends with other couples that also like to ride motorcycles. So, that's just it's a way to do it, but you have to start somewhere to really get out of your box. But I think it's a good conversation to have. So if you ask your husband what were the hobbies that he liked to do, what did he do in his free time before you guys got married? And I hope
We
you don't
both
say
worked a lot.
you both just worked a lot. Okay. Well, and that's one
liked
thing.
making money.
Yeah, well, relationships can also come from work. People that you work together. Instead of just working with them, you can also have them over for dinner, or you can also, go boating together, or whatever it is you want to do on the weekend. Go for a hike or whatever. But you have to always extend an invitation and make time
Yes.
for it, beyond your comfort zone, because nothing ever happens if we don't plan
that's the
it.
bottom line is stepping out. What I'm receiving from you is taking the initiative to step out and just try, even if the couples presented aren't seemingly a good match for the both of us, and just step out into something.
Yes, and it may not be that you're a great match all the time for everything. You're just a good match for something sometimes. Like, we have some friends that we'll just go out to dinner with because we like the same restaurants. Then we have other friends that we like to go on vacation with. Then we have other friends that we like to do projects with. I mean, it's you have different friends for different things. But I think in the world that we live in today, the thing that's hardest about making friends is taking the time to do it, because we're all so self-absorbed in our own schedules, in our own, it's like we'll sit there and spend an hour scrolling through social media when we could have spent an hour talking to our neighbors. And we didn't. And yet we don't even know our neighbors because we're spending the time, inside by ourselves. But it's a good question, and it's something to not give up on. I encourage you, if you are going to connect with people, I think it's really helpful to connect with people that it's convenient to connect with, like your neighbors. And that's why I say people that you're going to church with, because it's convenient, because then you see them every week. But it's got to go beyond that too. But there's got to be some level of convenience, like you don't live too far from each other, so it's not hard to get together.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's convenient. Yeah. But
Well, I
anyway,
appreciate that. I'm going to reach out to my community.
I think that's a good idea. And pay attention, to when other people say that they like to do things. Say, hey, I think we'd like to do that too. Or if they're even if they go to a gym, hey, do you like that gym? We're thinking about joining a gym too. What classes do you guys take? And then, oh, maybe we'll take your class, things like that. It's funny how things will connect you together when you're least expecting it. But over the years, I tell you, we have enjoyed the friendships that we have made, and we've really benefited from the investment that we made with those relationships. But thank you for calling, and be sure to catch the whole show, because the whole show has great tips on marriage. How long have you been married?
Okay, we will do.
Okay. How long have you been married?
3 years.
It's awesome. Perfect timing to learn more about how to have a great marriage. Thank you for joining me on the Her Show today. God bless you.
Well, thanks for answering our questions.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Y'all, I will be back next Monday from 2 to 4 here on JoCo Community Radio. Thank you for joining me today for the tips on marriage. Hugs and high fives.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.